Welcome to Story Before Glory. My name is Ronke Adebajo. My guest today is a professional on all spheres in his areas of expertise. He is very particular about going all out. Let's hear more about how his story has impacted lives, including mine. Welcome, Tope.
Thank you very much
Nice
for having
to
me.
have you.
It's an absolute pleasure.
I said including mine because the first time I saw you was in a magazine 17 years ago when I
Wow.
went for training. And immediately I looked at the name and I was like, okay, this is my kinsman, you know. And for me, that magazine featured the top of the range of those people in that profession. Tell us a bit about that profession and what you do.
Okay, well, like Ronke said, my name's Tope Abulude, and it's the balloon industry.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I got into it about 27 odd years ago.
Wow.
And I haven't looked back since then. It's been, from, one level to, to the other. So, yeah.
Yes, and it's been one higher level to another higher level from what I can see. The balloon industry, I would initially, I thought maybe, because if it then flows into decoration, isn't it?
Yes, it does, yeah.
I would have thought maybe it was seen as a women's industry, some time ago. Did you ever feel like that? How did you get into it,
Yes, you're right there. Quite a lot of women are in the industry, and but I never really felt that, because as soon as I got in, there were men there, so
Okay.
I really didn't. Not that I really care, to be honest with you. I just really, it's something that I fell into, if you like, or something that something that I didn't really have this big plan of, a 20-year plan, a 5-year plan, so it was just basically something I did at the weekends to start with.
Okay.
My church then, okay, let's start from the beginning.
Oh, yes. Feel free.
The beginning is always a good place to start.
Place, yeah.
Okay, so I have a very good friend in Nigeria in those days, and we roomed together. He was my we were also classmates, because I studied architecture.
Yes.
That's where the design background.
That's where we're.
Yes, that's where the design.
Because your balloons, although you do, but they're not like the conventional ones you see on the. You can tell that they've been designed. They've not just been, it's just like someone putting 2 or 3 balloons together. No, you can tell that there's a bit of design. There's a bit of artistry. There's a bit of design in what you're doing. Yeah, there's a difference. Yes.
So. Having spent 6 years doing architecture, there's a very strong design element in everything I do. So, you think colors, you think textures and stuff like that. Understanding all of that sort of gives me a leap above most people, because I don't then need to try and understand and spend a lot of time trying to figure out. There's an innate feel, to everything that I produce. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you can it's almost like you transmit that into your designs,
Into my balloon designs,
And even you were saying to me that although now that things are a bit quiet with what's happening, somehow you've managed to
stay busy.
Stay busy, Yes.
Yeah. I mean, as there are weddings are not happening. The big events that we're used to doing are not happening. And so we've been doing intimate events, sometimes in the house. It's just been a lot more of those types of works that we do these days.
And I know you said that it's just, you cannot but see the faithfulness of God in what you do, in terms of you still getting business in the times that we're in.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, the name Balloon Inspirations came, as a result of my faith, where my background as a child of God is, and my belief, that anything. You see, the Bible says anything you lay your hands on will prosper.
Yes.
There are no conditions. COVID times, anything you
deep.
lay your hands on will prosper.
Yes.
Non-COVID times, anything you lay your hands on will prosper.
Whatever the season, isn't it?
Whatever the season, and that's it. And so if you if that's your anchor, if the word of God is your anchor, then you're not really swayed by the noise.
That's true.
There is a lot of noise, especially around about now.
There is a lot of
yeah.
noise. We talked about the noise earlier on. I want to really pull out how because yes, we can say that you're the top of the balloon industry. You're on the top of, you're really up there in terms of, I'm going to ask you to mention the amount of countries you've done your designing. But before we do that, which is why we do Story Before Glory,
Yeah.
I want people to know the journey you've been in and how much you've sown. Because we tend to hear people's story, but you don't necessarily know the reason why they've been through. Tell us the sacrifices you had to make in the beginning, like when you went to Paris, America, and, the sacrifices you had to make, the decisions to just be the best in what you do. Yes.
The first training I had was with a chap in Eltham. I saw the balloons, I loved them, and I said to him, and I remember his name's Danny, and he said, "Oh, just come round and I'll teach you a few tricks." And so I went over to his shop in Eltham. This was that many years ago, 27 years ago, and he showed me a few tricks. And I thought, okay, so this is good. And I didn't stop there. And I thought, okay, so where can you really learn about these things? And there was this convention going in Paris then called the European Balloon Convention. I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to go there. So I went there. I couldn't afford it, but I still did. When I say I couldn't afford it,
and for me, that's the beginning of thinking big, because you could have very well. It's not usual when people are starting a business to launch and to want to go to big conferences like that. I just for me, that again connects to your name about balloon inspiration. It must be some kind of boldness that God has deposited in you that will make you launch out open there. And I'm emphasizing this because I just want people to know that with God we can launch out at any level.
The thing is, when you're in the middle of it, I'm not really thinking that deep. However, it's just sort of having an innate, just feeling that you can't fail. It's like, I really want this so bad. And that's the overarching feeling for me. It's like, I really have to do this, So the passion was there. And it was, and I just decided I was going to Paris. Interestingly, a friend of mine was also traveling to Paris at that time. So he was like, "Oh, you can come stay in my hotel." So that took, so that took a little bit off me,
in terms of what you had to pay for.
In terms of what I had to pay for. So I sort of roomed with them for 2 days that they were there. There was this Russian chap who was working. He spoke absolutely no word of English. I spoke absolutely no word of Russian. But he needed help, and he was already competing, And
is this for the competition you went for?
He was competing. I wasn't. I was a newbie then.
Oh, right.
And I just sat with him and I just went to help him, And we couldn't speak, but it was just balloon language. Yeah, it was just balloon language. And so that was quite fun to kind of help him. At that convention, I found out there was the World Convention, which was then going to be happening in America. Again,
So this is you in how many years getting into the balloon?
This was in the same year, sort of.
Yeah. So this is the same
12 months.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, I couldn't afford it. Never been to America in my life. And so I registered for this convention, and about a week or two to the convention, I called America, and I just had this little piece that I designed. And I thought, oh, do you know what? It's not like I have any reputation or anything like that.
Exactly.
Just enter this piece into the competition. And so I gave them a call and said, oh, I like that. And they said, oh, it's closed. I said, yeah, but I'm calling from London. Like it was supposed to be that I was coming from Buckingham Palace, Exactly. It was like, she said, it's still closed, And, she was very nice, but I was quite pushy. I was like, well, you know what? I just saw this competition and I just thought I would like to enter it and stuff. He says, yeah, it's been closed for a few weeks now. So I said, well, who makes the decision? Do you have a boss?
Yes.
And she said, well, yeah, she's in another state. Well, does she have a number? She said, yeah. He gave me the number.
So you don't take no for an answer. You were ready to
I don't. I really, and sometimes it's like, really? I mean, this... where? I called this lady and she was giving me the same thing. I said, I'm calling from London. And she was saying, and then she said, okay, right now, just fax me the details of the design and stuff like that. I said,
Okay.
well, it's Friday night, it's 12 midnight here, you know. And one of the things I missed saying to you as well was the inspiration sort of came to me, it was midnight here. You know, and I was actually in my bed. I just woke up and thought, I'm going to go call them and see, you know.
Yes,
and
if
so
they
I'm,
can.
yeah, and see
Yeah.
if they would let me. So I called this, anyway, I'm continuing this conversation with this woman. I said, oh no, it's Friday here, it's midnight here. I can't do that right now. And, you know, I could hear the pause, you know, I was just thinking, you know, who is this
guy that
who
is
is this
so
guy,
bold?
you know?
Yeah.
But and this always, when I tell the story, it reminds me of that woman that won't take no for an answer in the Bible.
Very true.
You know, and it was like,
Very true.
you know,
It was
yes,
persistent.
and I'm going to do this on Monday. First thing on Monday, I'll get this to you. And she was just like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we'll sort it out on Monday.
Okay.
And this was about 1 week to go to the event. And that's how I got
That's
into the
how
competition.
you got into it, right? Yeah. Can you just share with us just which countries have you been to? And if you, I know the last time you were saying to me you were delivering something to Amazon, and I was like, oh, I was going to say, okay, connect me with them. You know, so just share some of the countries you've actually exhibited your work really.
Okay. I attend seminars, but I also get invited to come and teach at various places. I hope I remember everywhere, but I'll try.
Just name a few.
I'll start from. Well, I've been to do a wedding in Kenya.
Okay.
And I went back to do another event.
Okay.
I did an event in India.
Oh wow.
And that was a really big wedding.
Yeah. Everything you were taking there from here?
Everything
from
was,
UK?
yeah, everything was,
Okay.
Beyonce came to sing at that wedding.
Oh, in India.
I know. I didn't meet her.
Yeah,
but,
listen, in India, yes.
That was, but I've been to Brazil twice. I've been to Australia twice. Japan, Taiwan, Thailand.
Wow.
In Europe, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, Ireland, lots and lots of time to America.
Get back to where you started,
yes,
really.
to where I started.
And there's a reason why I've actually asked you to share that, because I believe that when you're working in purpose and you're doing something that is inspired by God, you know, there is no limit to where God can take us, you know, if we're working in His will and we're going there. Do you get opportunities as you're doing this work to encourage people, to minister, especially when you're teaching, you know, do you get opportunities to share with people?
One of the things I say to people, I mean, you know, is that, you know, if I can do what I do and get, you know, to where I've got to, I honestly believe anyone can do anything, literally anything. So my story is a testimony, you know, I mean, for crying out loud, I'm a qualified architect.
That's another one, exactly.
Look where I ended up,
yes.
you know. And the story is still being written.
Yes.
You know, it's still
we're still on that journey, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not done yet.
Yes.
And it's all to the glory of God. It's about not being swayed by all the noise around you, not being swayed by other people's
purpose. Yeah, very good.
Stay in your lane.
That's what I was going to say. I had a guest on the show and she was like, stay in your lane.
Yeah,
honestly.
Stay in your lane.
Yes.
And
people
from like 10, 20 years ago, you know, I met someone the other day and she said, really? You're still doing this? You know?
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah.
Yes.
And I absolutely enjoy what I do, which makes a big difference. I thoroughly enjoy what I do. I wake up every morning wanting to get to work. What are we going to make today? You know, what opportunities are going to come? What things are God? What things are God going to bring my way? So it's quite exciting for me.
Excellent. You said something now that the journey, the story is still being written. That gives us a good platform to just transition nicely into partly what you also do.
Yes.
You're a qualified counselor.
I am indeed.
And how did you fall into that lane along with what you do right now?
Well, I think, you know, I always like to say, you know, being a counselor is who I've always been. You know, as a young child, I've always
Without
been,
actually knowing that that's
without
what you know
knowing.
you were
Yes, I've
doing.
always been the go-to person for my friends, my family, older people. I'm the one who will sit with your grandmother. I'm the one who's going to be friends with, you know, people who have a lot of wisdom and will share with you and stuff like that. And so that's been part of that journey for me, and building up and just
Can I just
listening.
attest to that? Because I
Yeah.
said to you when we were speaking that there's just an aura around you.
Praise God.
You know, there's just like it's almost very calming and reassuring. It's a piece you just want to just. It's almost like you want to just pour something out of you, and also there's a sense of humility. So I can almost relate to why you say, you know, people gravitate towards you and feel that they can share their story with you. So how did you get into, from that transition of, obviously, of what you said, you know, about people always coming to you?
And this happened right through my school years and stuff like that. In fact, it's really interesting. My wife still mentioned this today at work, you know, and someone came into the. I have to always think, is that a counseling thing? But no, it's not. So, you know, confidentiality and all that.
Obviously.
Yeah, someone came into the workplace today, and during the week, and she just really told me some really deep things about her. And my wife and the same lady came in today. My wife said, "You mean she told you all of this
This is into
within
your
one
balloon
session?"
shop, isn't it?
Yeah, in
Yes.
the shop.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
my balloon business is my altar, is my platform. This is where God's giving me an
Hallelujah.
opportunity to speak to people. So
Yes.
I'm not a pastor.
Yes.
You know, don't want to be one.
Do you know what? I always say God is the greatest strategist. I'm telling you, see how He's orchestrated that and giving you that platform. And it doesn't always have to be a pulpit.
In church, yeah. No, I don't even, you know.
You run away from that.
Yeah, no, I'm not even qualified. I don't, you know, but he gives me so much opportunities to minister, you know, and that is a blessing, you know, and that for me is, I can't really say much more than just that it's a blessing, and I continually have opportunities within my industry to talk about Christ and to talk about my journey and to talk about what he, you know, who he is to me.
Yes, and that's what He's called us to do, really, isn't it? Your journey so in you being a counselor, obviously you then reaching out to people, you shared with me a journey of forgiveness that you yourself had to go through. Because again, it would really be, you know, what's that word? An hypocrite if you are, you know, helping people to walk that journey of forgiveness, and then you then had one you were dealing with.
Yes, and which is what happened to me. So I remember very clearly, you know, I was speaking with a very good friend of mine, and, you know, it was about forgiveness. Of course, I knew all the theory, you know, I knew what,
do,
you know,
don't we?
yes, you know the theoretical,
Exactly.
but, you've got to forgive, you're doing it for yourself. And all that is true, you know. But when you're found wanting as well, you know, you've got to deal with that, you know, otherwise, like you said, you would be a hypocrite. So what basically happened was I was speaking with someone, and right there and then I just felt that the Spirit of God convict me and go like, well, actually, hello, you know, we know, you know. And so I was like, oh goodness, you know. And I stopped the conversation deliberately and I said, you know, I need to go and deal with some stuff. But, you know, I was saying this to you, I felt like the relationship I have with God is such that I can be who I am, you know, free of judgment of human beings, you know.
Very true.
And I can tell God how I feel, what I'm able to do and what I'm not able to do. And one of the first things I said when I was praying was, I cannot forgive this person. I can't do it. It's just like, I hear what the word says, I know exactly, but I physically or emotionally cannot do what I know you're commanding me to do.
Wow.
And I've heard very clearly that he said, that's fine, but I want you to want to.
Yes.
You know, and that was, you know, that was a game changer for me. I want you to want to forgive.
Yes.
And, you know, I
really
took a
deep.
moment to think about it and thought, okay, I can want to, but, you know, I'm still not, you know, you know, and I, you know, committed myself to God and said, all right, I want to do this. What I found in the following days and weeks and months to come was everything that I needed was given me, you know.
And that's how it works, isn't
And
it?
that's how I feel like, you know, hoping that someone out there would hear this. Forgiveness can be a journey, you know.
It's not,
And
it doesn't just happen like
yes,
that. Yes,
sometimes because of the depth of the hurt,
very true.
you know, or what the situation is, you
Yes.
know, it may not be once that goes like that, because sometimes the hurt can be continuing because maybe the person,
especially if it's really deep,
is really deep,
and
or
it's
the
for a
person's
long
still
time.
around and
Yes,
stuff.
very true.
So, like I said, someone out of nowhere just bought me a book that talked about forgiveness, you know, that I didn't tell them anything about it. I started to read the book, and then I was, you know, studying counselling by then as well. And that was going on, and I was being challenged, you know, in the group sessions and stuff like that. And so basically, you know, things were falling into place for me. And that's how I walked that journey. And one day I woke up and it just wasn't there anymore. That's, you know, and, you know, it was just,
amazing.
My heart was completely...
Amazing, amazing. Just as we round up, I just have one last question. What is the most profound thing you've learned or still learning, you know, as a counselor, you know, in helping people?
You never know it all. That's, for me, the profound things. I learn from my clients as well. I learn from, I'm very open to learning, and that's, I think, is one of the most powerful things for me, learning from the client and knowing that you cannot take one person's therapy and take it into another session and hope it's going to work exactly that way.
It's almost bespoke.
It's, yes, you're there to listen, and it's a privilege to be on that person's journey, you know. So even though while I'm practicing as a counselor, I don't practice explicitly as a Christian counselor. I am in my heart, I am a Christian counselor, and I am praying for my client within me.
That's really important.
For God to help us find the way.
Thank you so much. We're going to round up now. It's been an absolute joy. And thank you for using what God has placed in your life to be a blessing to others. And I do pray that you leave a legacy for generations that come behind you, so you continue to impact lives. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure being here. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.